Lana Turner was an icon of the 1930s. She could do it all. She could model, she could dance, she could sing, and she could act. On top of that, she was absolutely gorgeous, but aside from all the glamour, Lana Turner had quite a dark and mysterious personal life riddled with rumors, infidelity, and even violence. Before we get started, please do not forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching and enjoy. Lana Turner was born on February 8th of 1921 in Wallace, Idaho under the birth name Julia Jean Mildred Frances Turner, but she would mostly go by Judy. From the very beginning in early childhood, things were dark for Lana. She was born in a small mining town in the state of Ohio, and at a young age, her family would move from Ohio to San Francisco, California. After the move, her parents would separate shortly after, and Lana was sadly placed in a foster home. During the time she was in foster care, she was not treated great. It was often said that she often dealt with a lot of mistreatment. A short time after, her father was actually murdered after winning a game of cards, and unfortunately, they never did find out who committed the crime. Her mother would find Lana again, and the two would reunite. In 1936, Lana and her mother hit the reset button and moved to LA together. As a child, Lana actually had ambitions of becoming a nun, but would later decide against it when she learned that she would be required to cut off all of her hair. One day, while at a cafe, Lana would be discovered by a man named William Wilkerson while standing near a soda fountain. He realized she had a special something about her. Her name was changed from Judy to Lana, and only 2 days later, at the age of 17, she signed a contract with Warner Brothers. Lana started out with smaller roles and also continued working as a pinup girl, but Lana would become more widely noticed after playing a small part in the 1936 film They Won't Forget. There was a memorable scene where Lana wore a tight sweater while walking down the street. From this point on, she became known as the Sweater Girl, which created a moment for Lana. It also caught the attention of many, and her photos became in great demand. It was reported that Lana actually was not a fan of the nickname, and every time it came up, she would be extremely embarrassed. She continued working as a pinup girl, and servicemen would name Lana as their favorite pinup girl during World War II. Lana also starred in the show Peyton Place that would later earn her an Academy Award nomination. Bigger roles would then come for Lana when she played a showgirl alongside Hedy Lamarr in the film Ziegfeld Girl. Following this, her career skyrocketed, and she would be cast into roles including The Postman Always Rings Twice and The Bad and the Beautiful. She started out by playing in many romantic films, but then later shifted into these sort of good girl gone bad roles instead. She was known for her seductive aura and her hourglass shape. She was also said to have loved the color yellow and also her shoes. If she liked a certain shoe, she would buy it in every color, and it was reported at one point that Lana owned a total of 698 pairs of shoes in total. As far as her beauty secrets went, she always swore by Nivea cream to moisturize and always made it a point to exfoliate at least once per week. She also believed that your jewelry should always be worn, even if you're just wearing sweats, and believed it was important to always dress up anytime she left the house. Lana was known to also have never been seen in public without makeup. While everything was looking up for Lana's career, her personal life was something different entirely. She was frequently scrutinized for her heavy smoking and drinking, and her highly publicized love life was complicated to say the least. Lana was linked to numerous different men and was married a total of 7 times, most notably to her first husband, Artie Shaw, who was a singer, and also Lex Barker, who was an actor best known for his role as Tarzan. Her second husband was a restaurant owner by the name of Joseph Stephen Crane. It was during this marriage in 1943 that Lana would bear her first and only child, Cheryl. Lana rushed into high-profile relationships which were riddled with violence and were mostly unhealthy. She also endured multiple miscarriages which weighed on her heavily. By the time Cheryl was 14 years old, Lana began seeing a 32-year-old man named John Stump Nato, and it was not a good situation. John was a dangerous man who happened to be involved with the mob. He was believed to be an associate of Mickey Cohen, who was also not a good guy and was part of a highly organized crime family. A year into the relationship, things went from bad to worse, and it was said that Lana fell victim to John's frequent verbal and physical abuse. Lana claimed one time that John had spiked her drink and took demeaning photos of her while she was sleeping. Many times her daughter Cheryl was thrown in the middle and had to witness these scary events taking place right before her eyes, which leads us to the events that took place on April 4th of 1958. One day, while Cheryl was watching TV, she heard her mother screaming from her bedroom and soon realized a violent struggle was taking place. She became frightened and armed herself with a knife that was sitting on the kitchen counter. She began slowly walking towards her mother's room to check on her when suddenly the door burst open, where she then saw her mother attempting to remove John from her bedroom. John angrily began making his way towards Cheryl, and she began panicking. She believed he was going to hurt her next. Before he could do anything, Cheryl stabbed John directly in the stomach with a 10-inch knife. Lana at first didn't quite realize what had happened. She originally thought that Cheryl punched him in the stomach until she saw the blood on his shirt, then realizing he had actually been stabbed. The next day, on April 5th, Cheryl turned herself into police. However, she would not be placed in jail. She was charged with a justifiable homicide and was not found to be guilty of any wrongdoing given the circumstances. While this case seems cut and dry, there are many people throughout many years that believe this is not really what actually occurred. Many people thought that it was actually Lana that stabbed John, and in an attempt to cover up what she had done, Lana decided to place the blame on her daughter. It is believed that Lana convinced her daughter to confess, since Cheryl would most likely not face severe punishment, if any, as she was a minor. These rumors were mostly fueled from a private investigator named Fred Otash, who supposedly confessed that he, along with Lana's lawyer, spent time rearranging the crime scene before reporting it to police. He was, however, not found to be a credible source, as he worked for multiple celebrities and wrote a gossip column where he would commonly expose untrue rumors for attention. Of course, Lana, she would deny these accusations and suffered a great deal afterwards. Her daughter would later come to her defense, stating, quotes, "She was not acting, she was terrified. I know my mother, she was fighting for her child. The jury came back with a verdict of justifiable homicide. I have come up against this question 100 times. Isn't she really the one that did it? I killed John Stompnato, and I didn't do it to cover up for my mother. What mother would do this to her child, to make her own child live through her life knowing that she killed somebody and have to live with it? Who would do that? Not my mother, not the woman I know." You would think her statement would shut down all the rumors, but sadly the rumors only got worse through the years. One crazy theory was that Lana had come home to find John in bed with her own daughter, which prompted her to grab the knife. In 1982, Lana released a tell-all book titled The Lady, the Legend, the Truth. And in 2007, Time magazine named the story the crime of a century. Sadly, Lana was diagnosed with throat cancer in her later life and went into remission for a short amount of time. In September of 1994, Lana made her final public appearance at the International Film Festival to accept a Lifetime Achievement Award. Sadly, in 1995, Lana's life would sadly end as her cancer came back. She was 75 years old at the time. Lana Turner was an icon. Her career spanned over 5 decades, and her movies and life story will never be forgotten, despite all the darkness that surrounded her. Her daughter Cheryl is now 81 years old. She spent her career as a real estate agent and is now married and retired in Palm Springs. She is also a 2-time breast cancer survivor. That's going to be it for me today. Thanks so much for watching. Please do not forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.